Masters today, and it has already been mentioned 2 times in the chat room before the Open was done playing that I did not have Mark Pope on my top 5 yesterday for Plan Bs.
Not.
And the reason I did is that every single expert, including Kentucky people, that I asked about it, every single one was like, nah, like they're not gonna go for that. They're not gonna go for that. They're not gonna go for that. Well, guess what? They went for that.
Well, to me, I think it's one of those things when you look at this hire, like we were talking all along that they wanted to make the splash hire, right? Like the program like Kentucky, Texas football, et cetera, they want to go out for the splash hire. But at the end of the day, finding a guy who is young, who wants to be there, understands the situation they're walking into, while their resume might not stack up at the moment, giving them a chance ultimately might be the best thing for that program. And he's one of your own, so you might as well just adopt the situation.
Yeah, I think that I think it's a good hire. I think he's a good basketball coach. I think he hasn't even scratched the surface of how good he can be yet. And they're going to like the style that they play at BYU, very NBA style of basketball that's coming to Kentucky, so it shouldn't change up that much. I don't see any reason why they should be as upset as they are collectively, as I say, collectively as a fan base, but large sections of the fan base, especially given that he's one of their own. That, my gosh, like he was on the 96 championship team. Like, how about a little love for that guy?
Well, see, I think it was really unique, and I'm glad you brought that up, the 96 championship team part, because I recommend everybody go to Twitter right now, look up Rick Pitino, and watch the video that Rick Pitino made from the office in St. John's talking about Mark Pope and how he's the right guy for this job, and kind of telling people that because right now if you look at Pope, he has no wins in the tournament, but he said, if you look at a guy like Jay Wright in that situation, it took Jay Wright 11 years to finally get a win in the tournament, and I think that's what it is, man. It's like sometimes it might not be glamorous, right? But just give them time, let them sit back. I always go, to me, my default on this is always Dabo, because I think he's and Scott Drew. They went into a situation where they were given time to put things in place. It worked out. The stress wasn't there. And eventually it turned into winning championships. And I think it's the instant gratification thing now. Has kind of spilled over into all this. And I think if you just sit back, be patient, and give people like this an opportunity, they can win and ultimately might be the best thing for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's just so much animosity that comes. And also, like, let's just get into this part. I get that Kentucky is one of the most blue blood big jobs you can get.
Right.
But to think that 3 days after a guy wins his second national championship in a row somewhere else, that you could just call him up and get him.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Is a fan thing that we need to let go of. It happens a lot all over the place, especially for the schools that are big and bad and know they have a ton of money and know they have a lot of support. We can just get anybody we want. Well, clearly you can't. And you know how I can, you know what else? Nobody can just get anyone they want anymore.
No.
The world is different. It's very different because more programs are spending more money to keep their coaches in place, to be competitive. And there's not any more of this, oh, well, that's just how it's going to be. No, there's more people. Like, that's why it's harder to win over and over again, because, people are not just going to roll over and die anymore.
Well, I also think a large part of that, too, is now that you have NIL and you have the transfer portal, like the field has been evened out. Like, all right, look at Alabama basketball, right? Like, Alabama basketball was never a thing. And then you go back and look at the Colin Sexton. They get him in there. Obviously, they probably paid him off the books, yada, yada. But it's to a situation now where with the NIL in place, being able to get players and everything, Nate Oats can say, I'm more comfortable at Alabama than going to Kentucky. And that's something that was never even been thought about even 3 to 4 years ago. Like, the whole landscape has completely shifted. So you don't have to be like at a blue-blooded or these brand name places to get the job done anymore. And I think that's kind of the beauty of this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Garrett, let's start out with the Big Blue Nation message board. This is from Cats Illustrated. Catman111 under the We Just Hired thread, and thank you to message board geniuses for existing.
Yes.
I'm just going to say this right now. To message board geniuses, to the Sickos committee, I mean, we don't see him as much anymore, but the Nebraska guy.
The Nebraska.
Faux Pelini.
Oh, Faux Pelini.
Faux Pelini and all those.
Cyclone Larry, all those.
Yeah, Cyclone Larry. You guys are what Twitter should be about.
Yes. I love
for
the
sure.
Andrew
Freezing
Luck.
cold takes.
Remember the Civil War Andrew Luck?
Yeah. Commandant and Andrew Luck or whatever it was. Yes. Yes, you guys are what it's supposed to be about. We just hired our Kenny Payne.
Oh.
And look, there is Louisville and Kentucky going through it at the same time for different reasons.
Correct.
Kenny Payne, bottom out at that program, and it's unfortunate. And Kenny Payne will probably go back and get an NBA assistant coaching job, and
he'll be fine.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. It sucks that he couldn't win at his alma mater, but to throw that on Mark Polk before he's even coached a game is just. But you see, this is what happens if I asked you, Garrett, listen, tell me 3 concerts you want to go to tomorrow. Like if I just said, we're going to a concert, tell me which 3.
Oh, me? Like right now?
Yeah.
Big Crit. We do Big Crit. Let's do Gary Clark Jr. and Dirty Heads.
Okay. And what if I came back to you and said, all right, great. I couldn't get tickets to any of those. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see, somebody who's still good, but not any of those 3.
Like Nelly or something.
Yeah, we're going to go see Nelly. You're still going to have a good time. He's gonna sing most of Country Grammar.
But
it's not.
Yes.
It's not Gary Clark Jr., right?
Correct.
So it's not, you're like, we did that. That's how they feel, but they don't even know. They might have just hired Big Crit.
They could have.
They might have. But they think they hired Nelly. And that's how they feel right now. And it's sad. I need for the chat room, for the older chat room. I'll say it this way. I said, would you like to go see Billy Joel, Elton John, or James Taylor? And then I came back with, how about Journey without Steve Perry? And you're like, well,
oh, hell no.
I mean, we'll go, but it's not what we really want to see. So, Leonard Skinner now, without any of the original band.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, like that's what we'll do. So, but yeah, so that was that. All right, Garrett, we have